Alright, 7th graders, we're going to go through how to do a few quick formulas in this Middle East data table and generate some graphs. Go through how to save those graphs for printing later as well. So let's start with our table here. We've got all our countries, Middle East countries, from our National Geographic map. All our data is inputted, and we've double checked our data. We know it's correct. And so we're going to begin now. You're going to need some other columns as you go through the graphs. All troops, total population, and troops as a percentage of population. There's a few things you need to do to create those numbers in our chart. First thing is a simple addition problem. We're going to take active troops, add them to reserve troops to get all troops. So what we do is we highlight these two that we want to add together. This one's real easy because it's got it's already up here and ready for a sum. So we're going to click sum. And you say it says equals sum E2 colon F2. So it's adding E2 to F2. We hit enter and we get the two added together. To populate the rest of the cells in that column, you simply click on the one that you have already done your formula in. Put your cursor there and it'll turn into a crosshatch. Click it, drag it down, and voila, it's populated the column with the rest of the data. As well, we need to do population. Now we had already done population in thousands right here. We now need to turn that back into its correct number. So to do that, we need to type in a formula. The formula is going to be equals, let's just start with the Lebanon first, D2 multiplied by 1,000, because we wanted to turn it back into the correct population data. We're going to hit enter and we get our number of, let's see, what is it, 4,300,000. And if you ever want to check that, go back to the National Geographic map and you can check to make sure it's 4,300,000. Again, to populate the rest of it, you're just going to drag it right on down, and there you go. And then finally, troops as a percentage of population. This one is going to be another formula, but it's a division problem. So you're going to go equals, we want to do, we need two things. We need troop numbers and we need population numbers. So we're going to do our troops divided by number, which is the question mark key, just push it without hitting shift, divided by our population, hit enter, and now we have what percentage of the Lebanese population is troops, 1.67. Again, we're going to populate the rest of that by just dragging right down. Alright, the next thing I want to go through is how to create the graphs themselves. To do that, we are going to, first of all, one of the things you'll have to start doing is dragging the columns around to get the two, or however many you need, closest to the countries, all the way to the left of the countries. So the first graph asks you for GDP per capita and population in thousands. So we're going to go and put our population data there next to our GDP per capita. Okay, at that point we're going to select the countries and the two things that we want to create a column graph out of. Hit this button right here, which is Insert Chart. It's going to take us to the graph portion, and I hope I can move this so we can see it. So I'm moving us over to the window that's popped up, Chart Editor. At this point, go right to this button here where it says Charts, and we want to select the right one. It asks you to do a column bar, which is two different ones, but column is the one that we really want for this data. And as we click it, if anything looks real, if you ever see a bar that's sticking way up high and all the rest are barely visible, that means you have somewhere your data is incorrect. So you really need to make sure that your data is correct, and if anything looks really odd, then you should take a look at it. Although these are big, these are correct. So a couple things we need to do before we are done and insert it, and that's that we don't even see all the countries here. Some of the countries are missing. So at this point we can go and customize some things. We can customize the title, and okay, so we need a title for our chart. We can do some things with the sizing. So I'm just going to make mine 15 point. The legend here, we can move it around to a different spot, change the height, color, and we're not going to worry about that at this point. Font and background I'm not worried about. None of those features I'm worried about at this point. The axis is important though, because what we have is the problem with our labels. They're not slanted enough to allow all of them to show up. So if we were to go to 60 or 90, they're all going to show up. So I'm just going to go to 60 because that looks better to me. Looking really good. We've got our legend here, we've got our chart here. Things are looking in order, and we're going to insert the chart. And you can see it goes right back to, excuse me, it goes right onto here. And I don't really want it sitting there messing up all my, messing up my chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to its own sheet, like this. And I don't know if I can resize here, but what's happened is I've moved it, and now it's on a massive new sheet. Let's see if I can resize. I cannot resize it while I'm recording here. Let's go on to its new sheet, but at this point it's really important we kind of zoom up here and look up here at the top and to this information, because what we found out is we can't just leave the chart there and expect it to be fine when we're done, because as we move data columns around, we found that it messes up the graphs as you go. So what we need to do is save the image. So we're going to click Save Image, and what has happened is down here in Chrome, if you look at the bottom left now, what it does is it's saved my chart. So somewhere on your screen it'll save it depending on the browser you're using. And it has just saved it to my Downloads folder. And if you want to make sure it's there, you can click Show in Folder, and you can see it appear in your folder. So there's mine right down there, and it's in my Downloads. Whoops, what I meant to do was just quickly rename it so I know what it is. It's population GDP, sorry, Mideast, and I'm good to go. So now it's there, and later on when they're all done I can print those. Alright, so we're gonna stop there and get back to our data real quick. We're back to our data. We've made our GDP and population graph, and at this point you can move graphs around and put them in the spots you need them to make that work. But again, don't expect all of these charts down here, these graphs, to be correct when we're done, because they aren't. As you move the data around, it does change the graphs as you do it. So make sure you save them as soon as you make them. I'm going to stop there. Re-watch this for the information on how to make the graph. As you get into the other graphs, you're going to use some of this data to do those. So good luck.